Asylum Lawyer David Haigh. Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Now, Suella Braverman, since her speech, maybe we'll talk about some of the elements of that in just a second. But she says that, because of course one of the things that she said was that our criteria for allowing asylum seekers into the country, for accepting their applications and allowing them to live here, are too lax. It cannot be the case, she said, that just because you're gay, you get asylum, or you're a woman who lives in a country where there aren't many female rights, or you fear discrimination. She said that cannot be the case, because if we let every one of those people in, it'd be 780 million. But what she is saying, that notwithstanding, David, it is a fact that, you know, if you are gay and you are persecuted in the country you live, that is grounds for asylum in Britain. But what Suella is saying is that because of that, a lot of asylum seekers pretend to be gay to game the system. You're an asylum lawyer. Have you experienced anything like that?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'm certainly generally no fan of Suella Braverman. I've been very critical of things that she's said and done in the past. But I wrote an article for the Mail a couple of days ago, actually welcoming some of the comments that she's made and the fact that she brought them to an international stage as opposed to chasing barges in England. You know, and as some of your listeners may know, I mean, I'm a gay man, and I was the first openly gay managing director of football clubs, and I've been championing gay rights for a long time. She does have a point. And the article that I wrote, you know, it started off with a description of an email that I'd received from someone looking for help with asylum that was along the lines of, I'm not really gay, but I understand that's an easy way to get in.
Somebody said that to you? Somebody said
that to me, yeah.
That's extraordinary, isn't it?
It is. And the problem is, you know, I can speak from a personal perspective and a professional one. Personal perspective, my partner 10 years ago was from the Middle East, went through asylum, was genuinely had their life at risk for a very long time. So I've seen it from that side, and I've also seen it from the side of a lot of potentially fake claims. Now, even in the case of my partner 10 years ago, and having myself as a British partner, no one from the Home Office even bothered to give me a call and said, is what's on this form true? Are you the partner of this man? So that was, you know, 10 years ago. So even, you know, if someone's claiming something fake, then they're not even checking even the basic steps like a phone call. And now, obviously, with such a backlog, I can only imagine the checks have got less and less and less. And of course, it's very, very difficult to prove whether you're gay or not. And you've got a Home Office scared, effectively, of doing and saying the wrong thing when you come to the issues of rights in that area.
Yeah, and I don't think Suella Braverman was saying, oh, you know, no gays can get asylum. I mean, if you are gay and you come from a country where gay people are persecuted, I think you still will qualify for asylum. But what she's saying is that people are clearly turning up, either pretending they're gay, which takes it onto another level, or they're just sort of saying, I'm gay, and therefore you have to give me asylum. We need to clarify what the rules are, don't we? I mean, because she was talking about this the other day, saying, oh, you know, if you're a woman and you come from a country where there aren't many women's rights, people claim that. They even claim, people are even coming here and saying, I fear potentially I may be the victim of discrimination in the months and years to come, and they're allowed asylum. I mean, in your job, I mean, do you agree with Suella Braverman that the rules are too loose in terms of who gets asylum?
I think they are. I think the rules are fine. It's the interpretation of them that's causing the problem. You know, and you know, the rules are in my view, we need to protect people whose lives are at risk and who are being persecuted to such a severe extent. We've got to draw a distinction between that and someone suffering homophobia. And I don't want to belittle that, because it's terrible. It shouldn't happen anywhere around the world that someone is discriminated against. But we still have that in England. You know, a few months ago, I was discriminated against on something silly, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go and try and claim asylum from somewhere else. Now, I'm not belittling what people go through at all. But we do need to draw a distinction, you know, between discrimination, which, like I said, is very bad, and someone's life, like a gay man in Iran, genuinely being at immediate risk. And I don't think with the interpretation we've got at the moment and the fact that no one's fact-checking these things, even the simplest way, apparently, that's happening. And we don't have a finite number of spaces, as we've seen. And the problem with all of this is when you get a genuine asylum seeker, like in the case of my partner 10 years ago, they end up waiting months or years in limbo to get asylum because there's so much backlog and so many fake cases. And so the people that genuinely need our protection are not getting it.
Well, I'm glad to hear. I'm assuming your partner did get asylum, and I'm glad to hear that. You'll know about this, David. She cited, and it seems to sort of hold water, it seems pretty logical. She said that, you know, much of our approach to the migrant crisis, to asylum seeking, is dictated by the 1951 United Nations Convention on Refugees, which apparently was formed to help 2 million people who got made homeless or suffered because of the Second World War. I mean, do you agree with her that we need an updated set of rules to dictate whether or not we give people asylum? I mean, is it time to forget about this 1951 Convention on Refugees? It does seem like a long time ago, before there were mobile phones, before there was social media, before there were jet travelling all over the world. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, I think in terms of the convention, the words in the convention are fairly clear and would be difficult to change. And talk about persecution. Now, you know, if we were going to change that, what would we change it to in this day and age? You know, it's not that word, I don't feel. I think it's the way that the years that has been interpreted and the changes to the interpretation of it. Whereas persecution, as she said, has turned into a bit more discrimination, but it doesn't say that in the treaty. Now, changing a treaty, as Suella Braverman knows very well, is not going to happen anytime soon. It takes a long time and lots of countries, so she knows that's never going to happen. So this is probably electioneering on her part. But there does need to be, we've got a global problem of migration and illegal migration. Other countries around the world suffer the same thing. There needs to be, I think, a global solution to this where people need to get together and resolve it for the modern age. And that doesn't involve coming out of one court or another court or changing things. It needs to be done globally, else it will never be resolved. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon either.
By the way, David, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. But I should know this probably, but what football club are you the boss of?
Leeds United.
There was me liking you. Gone right off you now. David, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.